So welcome to everyone to the Strongest Group GTM podcast. This is the one and only episode by yours truly, Harri Konola, and also
Hlib Storchak. I'm working directly with Harri, and we are, guys, super excited to see you today for the first episode of our podcast. And today we're going to discuss, Harri, a lot of great topics.
Yeah, I think so too. So basically, if you're interested in go-to-market, you want to take your company across the borders of Finland or any other country, and you actually want to be successful in it, maybe we're going to have some interesting topics for you today. Let's see.
Absolutely. Actually, I think what we want to talk about today is nothing like too crazy, meaning not advanced stuff, because I believe, especially when we start our podcast, we want to go over the basics so people have the right understanding of what we're actually doing and how this information could be valuable for them.
Sure, I agree. I think kind of this first episode will be valuable for all levels. So whether you're just starting your own B2B SaaS company or you're already established at a bigger company, we're going to try to put in some little nuggets here that will make you kind of stick around and see some value from it.
Perfect, yeah. Harri, so I feel like our viewers might be really interested to understand what's the GTM, because this term has been like floating around LinkedIn and all of these like bubbles, online bubbles. I mean, what's the GTM actually? How would you describe it?
Yeah, well, GTM, of course, one of the biggest terms of 2025 when it comes to the business world. It's a term that has been pushed by these Silicon Valley unicorn companies for the whole year and also before that, but not that much. But what it actually is go-to-market, right? So GTM comes from the words go-to-market. In an essence, it's kind of the goal of GTM is to help companies expand. It can be also done kind of nationally. So you're going to just boost your client acquisition within the country you are in. Yeah. But in also many cases, it's about actually expanding across the boundaries of your country to enter new markets. Yeah. Right? But overall, it's a quite big of a topic that consists of very many things. But what do you think, Hlib? What am I missing here? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like this term GTM and even like the roles which are connected to it, right? Like the GTM engineer. Yeah. It has been all coming up with all of the modern AI-powered tools, how people name them. As for example, Clay, you have Unify as well. So I believe with the development of those tools, this term has been really getting popular, right? But in the essence, as you said, that's, let's say, the strategy, the way in which companies could either boost their sales, right, or capture more customers within their native country, or if they haven't plans to kind of expand, right? Yeah, that's how they do it.
Well, when I think about the word GTM, what comes to me in my mind is what makes a good go-to-market strategy, for example. Right. Like, what is a good go-to-market engineer? And for me, that kind of encapsulates pretty well the meaning of the word. So let's pick up the kind of roll down. So if you think about a excellent go-to-market engineer, what would that person be able to do to your company?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I believe we are still kind of new to this term. Hence, a lot of people can have different sort of opinions and understanding of what a real go-to-market engineer is. Yeah. Some people even saying that this person has to code, or some people say that this person has to do the sales. Yeah. In my opinion, that's the person who is at the back end. So that's the backbone of any sort of sales department or sales function within the company. Meaning this person is responsible for the direction to which the company goes. And also this person helps companies execute on that strategy. Okay. So in my opinion, this is the person who helps companies develop their ICP, understand what's their value proposition, how to kind of show this value proposition through the messaging, and not just on one platform, but using the multitude of different platforms.
Okay, so you gave a few terms there. For some listeners, even the term ICP could be a little bit unknown. So how would you define a ICP?
Yeah, ICP it means ideal customer profile or customer persona. And I would say it's as well, it's evolving a lot, right? Because some companies say, oh, my ICP SaaS company is up to 50 people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean much. I mean, there are thousands of different companies like yours, which also think that their ICP is B2B SaaS up until 50 employees.
Yeah.
So in order for you to actually understand the ICP, you need to sort of imagine your whole market. And you need to think about which particular person in which particular situation might be interested in using your service, or your service could actually help them solve the real-time business problems.
Yeah. So when you talk about a good GTM engineer or GTM overall, you said that the person needs to be able to give the direction for the sales, understand the ICP, understand what kind of messaging resonates with those people, and be able to communicate that effectively through multiple channels, right?
Absolutely.
What I would maybe add to that is, because in that kind of a definition, it could still fall within the kind of one-off spray and pray methodology.
Yeah.
But I think a good GTM engineer is one that can make this whole process systematic, right?
Right, yeah.
So they can build systems for companies that generate kind of pipeline, right?
Yeah.
If I look at the role GTM engineer, I think these people can have, depending on the life cycle of a company, they can have multiple different roles.
Yeah, that's correct.
Let's say you're a very early startup, for example.
Yeah.
In that case, you might not have a product market fit. You might not even have a message market fit. But there's still a role available for a GTM engineer. And that would be, for example, to basically understand the size of the total addressable market. Yeah. So a great GTM engineer should be able to build very good lists using the most modern tools to understand the actual market size. And moreover, if a company is trying to figure out their product market fit, a good GTM engineer should be able to find pain points that are existing within that list of companies, right?
True.
And based on that, you could even pivot your company's angles. And so a GTM engineer, in my eyes, is a pretty broad role.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's everything from building the lists of potential customers. It's understanding the ICP, just as you said. It's finding out the signals that tell you which customers are more likely to convert, and also being able to make that messaging framework that resonates with those people so that you can actually fill the pipeline. And in best case, you can do this across the whole world with the modern tools, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think we have some kind of definition for a GTM engineer, and that's a good starting point for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, that's the person who is the backbone of sales, right? Understands the psychology of, let's say, the potential customers, knows how to find the most amount of people, which could be the fit for the service, and pretty much helps capture those people.
What about, should that person be a coder in your opinion?
Nah, I mean, I don't think it's the right thing to do. Maybe because the role is still new, people are trying to put on different labels. But such thing as a coding, for example, I don't think that's a great kind of thing to do, a function to do for the GTM engineer.
All right.
Could be sales actually, because I saw some people on LinkedIn at least, right? They position themselves as the go-to-market engineer for sales, or like sales go-to-market engineer.
Yeah.
Meaning that this person combines, for example, crafting the pipeline versus converting the pipeline. This is kind of okay, even though it's already going away from the original direction. Yeah. But coding, I mean, it's a completely different thing. So.
All right. So if we look at the kind of go-to-market function as a whole, and we're here talking with clients basically every single day, what do you see being as the biggest bottlenecks in terms of building a functional GTM strategy or a GTM playbook for modern companies?
As you mentioned, for example, for early stage startups, the biggest problem is they don't even have the product market fit, right? So they might have the V1 of their product or some sort of, let's say, the mock-up. And they're trying to, first of all, understand if people actually need what they offer, right? So for the youngest companies, for the startups, the biggest problem, I would say, is product market fit. Then when we are moving further, we are seeing companies having their offer validated by getting quite a lot of inbound traction. So people are leaving some requests, right? They maybe write back on LinkedIn asking about their product because it somehow solves the problem. But here's the next problem, is the message market fit, as you said. So they have a really nice product, but they don't know how to package it in a way so that you could sell it to the cold audience.
Sure.
Right?
Makes sense. In which stage of this process do you think that kind of the go-to-market engineer would bring most value? Do you think it's at the beginning stage? I'm just thinking if I was like a founder of a B2B SaaS company, like when should I get in touch or start hiring my first go-to-market engineer?
I would say after you validate your offer and your product. Because you can, of course, hire a go-to-market engineer which has a prior experience from the industry which you are trying to penetrate.
Yeah.
But still, in some cases, this might not be enough because I believe if you're starting the company, at least you have an idea of what you want to build. Hence, your job should be to do everything for some months or even years until you get your offer validated. And from this, the go-to-market engineer can build you the whole system and help you scale systematically, right?
Yeah. I've figured out or come to the pretty much same conclusion.
Yeah.
There are some great go-to-market engineers that can help you find the message market fit, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're looking at kind of getting most bang for your buck in terms of go-to-market, I would say a great starting point would be that you're getting inbound leads, right? And you can talk with those companies that come in and ask them, why are you kind of buying our services? Like what makes this the moment or this product good for you? And when you start talking with your customers on that level and just being very open with them, they will give you kind of in best cases, the message market fit. Because those are the paying customers, they have some problems, you're fixing those problems, and then you take their stories about how you're helping and you try to multiply that across lookalike companies such as theirs. And that's how you can kind of scale your GTM. When I think about this on a different level, I would say one great starting point for example, hiring a GTM engineer or thinking about getting some agency to work with you would be if you as a founder are able to create a resonating message by doing, let's say, 30 minutes of manual prospecting. Yeah. And when you send that message out, you're, let's say, 35% sure that this message will resonate with the client, and more likely than not, you're going to get some response. Yeah. If you as a founder can do that, then you should have, first of all, a product market fit. You would have a message market fit. And if that can be done via manual prospecting, a go-to-market engineer should be able to scale that approach that you have across 10,000 companies.
Absolutely.
Or do you agree?
I definitely agree. I mean, if there is already something which works, a great go-to-market engineer can help you scale that, right? Yeah. And in the process of scaling, he would also be able to identify the bottlenecks, right? Or something that the company doesn't need and quickly remove it from the workflows and the way they approach customer acquisition. Sure. So I definitely agree.
We've been talking now a bit about kind of the outbound aspect, like crafting messages. But I guess go-to-market engineering and go-to-market specialists do a lot of other things as well. Definitely. So what would you say in terms of outbound? What else can you do kind of quickly with your GTM strategy?
Yeah, it's a big misconception that go-to-market engineering means just crafting some personalized outreach emails, even though it's a quite a big part of it, but there are still a lot of other plays which come in place. So, for example, if I were just recently hired a go-to-market engineer, the very first thing which I would do is probably to take a look at the CRM which the company has. And 99% of the companies have a full chaos in their CRM.
Yeah.
So what you could really do is, first of all, to systemize the existing pipeline, what's already inside the CRM. And a lot of companies would be actually shocked by how many empty records they have, how many contacts which are not filled up, and how many of those have to go away.
Yeah.
When you've done this, I think the next step could be actually to do the database reactivation. So even slightly established company, they should have the pipeline of someone who they have been in contact with. But for example, they didn't close them, or this client churned for, let's say, 1 year ago.
Yeah.
You could always try to reactivate those and get quick wins, quick calls, and potentially close them again.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think CRM hygiene has become a kind of big topic.
Yeah.
Just as you said, companies don't really have the most updated records.
Yeah.
The people they have on their CRMs have changed jobs. They don't have the correct signals there, and they're kind of not taking the CRMs or using them to the best kind of level possible, right?
Of course.
So CRM hygiene is definitely a big point that GTM specialist can help with. Another one that I would definitely add would be kind of the inbound aspect.
Right.
So depending on where you are as a company, whether it's the US, America, or whether it's Europe,
Yeah.
there are kind of different tools to make sure that you get the best out of already interested customers and companies.
What are you talking about?
So basically, let's say you're a company in the US.
Yeah.
You could use a tool such as our B2B, and you could track website visitors that come to your website.
Okay.
And different to Europe, you can actually find out on a personal level who's there scrolling through your website, which page are they on, which page are they on. And based on that, you could actually take that information, enrich it with a tool such as Clay, see if they match your ICP,
Great.
so the ideal customer profile. And based on, for example, the site that they are visiting, you can craft them a email or LinkedIn message that should resonate with them. I can give you an example. Let's say Strongest Group has a site and we get US-based traffic.
Yeah.
When we get a US-based B2B SaaS company to come to our webpage and they go to the pricing section, the information would go to Clay, we would qualify it.
Okay.
And based on the site that they were visiting, if it's, for example, a pricing page, we could determine that they're quite of a hot lead. They're pretty much interested. They went from the front page to the pricing page, but unfortunately, they did not click the book a demo meeting, right?
Yeah.
That sucks. That could be a lead that we actually miss out on. But as go-to-market engineers, we would craft a model to personalize a whole sequence to that person using multi-channel tools. So we actually first send them an email, then we go visit their profile on LinkedIn, and then we send them a LinkedIn message saying, hey, Hlib, I noticed that you're looking around or scrolling through our website and you passed by our pricing page. What kind of ideas do you have in mind in terms of expanding to the Nordics?
Cool.
That could be one example. Maybe not with that copy, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the overall idea. So now we've passed on a few topics. Outbound as a whole is something that go-to-market engineers can do. We can go to the copy aspect as well.
Yeah.
CRM hygiene, definitely a big use case.
It is.
And I think it's growing a lot as well.
Yeah, it is very underrated. And I believe some companies will understand the consequences of not having a great CRM hygiene really soon.
Yeah, I guess so. I agree. And then the inbound-led outbound is definitely one thing.
Yep.
And also might be interesting to some of the listeners, we've done a lot of data crunching on this.
Yeah.
And we can see that if we separate kind of outbound, cold outbound versus inbound led outbound, the efficacy of sending inbound led outbound messages to website visitors is about 5 times higher than cold outbound alone.
It is.
So definitely a playbook that companies should kind of try out.
You have to capture intent while it's hot.
Yeah.
Hence, it's actually one of the playbooks that we install for our clients. So capturing the website visitors.
That's it.
Great. What else? I mean, there are other signals, right, which we could do for the companies. Like, for example, if you have a database of your champions, let's say, one great thing which you could do is put them inside Clay. And what the Clay could do is identify when these people change their jobs, right?
Yeah.
And quite often, even if this person changed the job, the tools which are being in use, they remain the same.
Yeah.
Hence, you could get one more customer easily without doing any extra job.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the really, really good signals.
Yeah.
More so if they're actually champions of the product, right?
Exactly.
So let's say somebody starts using Clay in Finland, for example, at a company. And then something happens and they switch to a competitor, right? If I were Clay, I would immediately send a message to them asking if Clay would be a tool that they would see value in the new company as well.
Exactly.
This kind of a workflow is something that most companies talk about, but then when it comes to building a system around this, they're completely lost. So when we talk about this, they basically say, yeah, we're following up on the champions. We can see on LinkedIn when they change the job.
Well,
I don't know how many LinkedIn connections they have, but if you have more than 500, it's pretty much too hard to keep track of all the champions there.
Absolutely.
Moreover, just in my personal opinion, it's always better to build systems in place rather than to keep this on luck, basically. Do I see someone's update on LinkedIn or not?
Yeah.
What do you think? What about other signals? What other signals would you kind of build for clients?
Yeah, I would think that hiring sprees could be also a quite great signal to leverage. Of course, it depends on how you leverage it. But for example, what I've seen working for software development companies is that if a specific, platform or just a company hiring for software engineers, and if they do it like in the sprees, I would say 5+ job openings would be a really strong signal to leverage.
Yeah.
So you could also put, for example, you could do ABM, put a specific accounts which you like, and you could track their job openings again by just using Clay, because Clay could pull in all of the different sort of resources, right, or sources of job postings and consolidate them in one specific place. For example, if you see that, okay, suddenly they have like 10 active job postings, that's the right time to reach out.
Sure, I agree. And also for the listeners, this is actually a topic that has a name. These are intent-based signals, right? Intent-based signals are all the jazz, or have been all the jazz for the past year. Basically, what it means is to kind of track signals from your potential customers that would give you an indicator that your solution might be relevant for them, right?
Sure.
So that's what we're talking about. And for those purposes, for example, tracking hiring, as Hlib told, is an excellent one.
It is.
Let's say you are a GTM engineering company. You could easily make a system that scrapes every single company in Europe that is hiring GTM engineers. And instead of them actually hiring someone, you could offer it as a service, right?
Exactly.
That would be a perfect intent-based signal.
Definitely.
The most common ones, if I'm not mistaken, would be hiring trends, champion tracking, and then kind of trying to analyze what tech stack possible clients are using. You can use, for example, in Clay, you could use BuiltWith for that purpose. So let's say you would be selling some kind of a marketing solution. You could easily track if a potential client is using, for example, HubSpot or SalesForce.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Could be that the HubSpot clients are perfect for you, but you don't really want to work with SalesForce clients.
Or just don't integrate with them or something.
For sure. That's one of the use cases. The good thing nowadays is that basically creativity is the limit that basically GTM engineers have. You can scrape so many signals from the market, from open databases, from company websites, from LinkedIn's, from personal LinkedIn accounts,
exactly,
to see whether or not you are relevant or not, right?
Yeah.
Any other signals that come to your mind?
I mean, I would say those are top 3, and for the first episode, probably I think that's more than enough to people to kind of understand where this thing can go. You could, of course, use, for example, some web scrapers to find, I don't know, for example, for the e-commerce developers, a big thing could be how quickly the website is loading, right?
Yeah.
I don't say that this is necessarily the signal, but at least this would be a really strong indicator for you to either qualify or disqualify the prospect.
Yeah. All right. I think what we could discuss next is kind of the complexity of GTM from a technology perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Because many people are scared about GTM. And one of the reasons for that is that there's so much technology around, so many tools around the space, that it's really hard to pick and choose what you would kind of need to have.
Yeah.
So in terms of GTM engineering, how would you kind of segment, first of all, the different kinds of tools?
Yeah.
And what would be a basic technology stack for GTM at the end of 2025?
All right. So I would put it, first of all, as the solar system. So imagine the solar system.
Yeah.
The sun would be definitely Clay. I mean, it's no doubt. Because
so clay.com.
Yeah. Because this tool, let's say, combines and integrates with the rest of the technological stack.
Yeah.
So if you want to start doing things, I would definitely go deeper in Clay.
Sure.
Then we could sort to other 3 categories, which would be, first of all, the outbound, right?
Yep.
The tools for email execution, LinkedIn execution, cold calling. Then we would do, of course, inbound, meaning that website visitors, as we've discussed. We could also, for example, do the social listening, right? And then the RevOps. To the RevOps, I would probably categorize at least the CRM.
Yeah.
So that's about the technological stack. And as we've started talking about Clay, right, we could maybe expand on Clay a little bit more, because a lot of people, I mean, even on the calls which we have, some people say, oh, I know Clay, but it's just a tool for like sending the emails, just getting some hyper-personalized messages and sending them out. What do you think about this statement?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty biased. I really love Clay. So what can I say? Clay for me is kind of the top tier tool for GTM. And they're also listening to the community. They're adding a lot of new kind of features around. But for me, Clay is kind of the one source of truth.
Yes.
So what do I, for example, use Clay for on a day-to-day basis? First is to build the initial list. So an initial list of companies that are interesting for either us or our customers.
Okay.
That's the first thing. The next thing would be to find people from those companies that I could actually reach out to.
Yeah.
Right? So now you could use Clay to build a company database, a person database, and that's not all. The next thing that I could use Clay for is to actually enrich those people with their contact details.
Cool.
So I could use waterfall enrichments, which would use Prospero, Full Enrich, you name it, multiple different tools to find the accurate contact details of each and single person on the list. Well, maybe not 100%, but more than using one tool only.
You could get better coverage for sure.
For sure. And then you would have companies, people, and their contact details, which in some cases is actually pretty much enough for running some very generic outbound messages. However, that's not all. I would then use Clay as well to enrich on a company level if they match really our ICP. I would use Clay to identify the actual intent signals based on which we could get in contact with those clients. And then I would use Clay to enrich every single detail that I would want. Once I have done all the enrichments, once I've done all the analysis with Clay, I could then use Clay to hyper-personalize the messages. So it would look at the person, at the company, and the signals to craft a personalized message.
Okay.
Right. And it's not limited to there. I could then basically integrate Clay into a email sending tool such as Instantly.
Absolutely.
Or SalesForge.
Right.
Or Smart Lead, or whichever tool to kind of send these outbound messages out, right?
Yeah.
Or HeyReach for LinkedIn or any other tool.
Yeah.
Right. So Clay for me is the one tool where I spend most of the time when I'm actually working with clients.
Absolutely.
And then I also it's not perfect. Of course, the data coverage is mostly, I would say, LinkedIn based.
Yeah, it is.
So I would then want to add additional data sources, such as using Ocean.io to find lookalike companies, use Disco-like for that purpose. I would use Apollo to find more people for those companies. And then using Clay, I would probably also scrape websites to find people that are just not on LinkedIn, right?
Definitely.
But for me, Clay is not just one tool among all the other tools. It's one tool that if it didn't exist, I don't think our agency would exist. So
yeah. And the whole probably GTM space again, it would probably collapse without Clay. So I definitely agree. It's not about like sending the emails and stuff. It's about finding, as you said, as many relevant data points as possible. And then you can leverage them for different purposes. Could be either sending out the emails, or you could enrich the CRMs with the information that you have gotten.
Yeah.
Or you could use it for the inbound as well. So the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically all the parts that we have been talking up until now. So the outbound part, you can do it with Clay.
Yeah.
The inbound part, you will do it with Clay and other tools combined. And also the CRM hygiene part would also be done with Clay.
Yeah.
So in that term, I love the tool. It's really great. But actually, let's go to one of these topics that you brought up, which was the email sending infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have these talks with clients on a weekly basis, and they really don't get good results with email. What would you say are the main causes that these companies are not getting results, even if they have a product market fit and a message market fit?
Yeah.
What would you say on those situations become a bottleneck?
Yeah. Great thing that you mentioned the infrastructure, because again, that's the backbone for your whole cold email channel.
Yeah.
So if you don't get a really great infrastructure for your company, then I would say the effort will be 100% wasted. Because you could have the best offer, the best messaging, but if it doesn't come to your primary inbox or the inboxes of your ICP, then it doesn't make sense, because who checks the spam folder? I barely do.
No.
I mean, if your messages are marked as spam, it's a game over.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's something that can be fixed with a good email infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay. What would that look like? Why would it fix it?
Because if you buy the domains and email accounts from trusted providers, if you warm them up correctly, the Google and Outlook kind of algorithms, they would think of you as a trusted sender, meaning that you don't send out spam to people, which you shouldn't do anyways. I mean, it would also make sure that you always come up in the primary inbox of your ICP, right, of the people you target. So I think that the deliverability is a big thing, and you should always try to take care of it.
Okay. So basically you get an infrastructure in place so that the message you send end up on the screen of the person that should be buying.
Exactly.
Right?
And also that you can do it at scale.
Sure.
We're not interested in 50 messages per day.
Yeah.
I would rather do 500 or even 1,000 messages per day.
Yeah.
You can get the feedback faster and validate your offer also faster.
All right. Makes sense. Do you have any name dropping to do, like not sponsored in any way, but what would be kind of good tools now for email deliverability?
Right. I love, first of all, if we are talking about Google and Outlook, I like PrimeForge or Zapmail, where having the part of our client's infrastructure using their services. If you want the independent providers like SMTP, I would only go probably for the Maildozer, just because they've been on the market for such a long time. They're doing a great job. They have also introduced actually the Google Workspaces.
Yeah.
So I believe they have probably the best infrastructure, the deliverability out of all of the SMTPs.
Yeah.
So you can, of course, if you love the product, you can allocate all of your resources to one platform. But from my perspective, it still makes sense to diversify a little bit.
Okay.
Have a healthy mix. If it's 2 providers, do 50-50. If it's more, do 30-30-30. I mean,
okay.
That's how we do it.
I actually have a question. It's still continuing on the topic of email deliverability. What would be the red flags of sending emails? How can you make sure that even if you have the best infrastructure, you still will hit the spam folder? Or are there any?
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about the copyright, for example.
For example?
Yeah, I would say the copywriting, I mean, also it's a very important thing. So that's the reverse. You have really great infrastructure, but you don't know how to send a great message, so it doesn't land in spam. The big thing is that those algorithms, they were trained really well, so they identify this very specific spam words, which you don't have to use, as, for example, free or guarantee, or the combination of the words, which is like free trial or something like this.
Sure.
This triggers spam filters straight away, because it sounds like a promotional message, and promotional or marketing emails are mostly spam, let's be honest. But we want to be, as a salesperson, we want to offer them something. Hence, we need to avoid the spam words as the very first thing.
Yeah. And to add to spam words, I would say probably sending links or images would be a kind of a no-go, at least when you do it on a large enough volume.
Agree.
I mean, you can do it for, in some cases, send some funny memes or something, but on a larger scale, I would say that's also a no-go.
Yeah, just a plain text.
Plain text without spam words and with actually relevant copy, that would be one thing.
Yeah, that's why you need Clay.
That's where you need Clay. And also in terms of kind of the messaging, that's also why you want to use in some cases spin taxing.
Yeah.
So every single message that you send looks different from another, right? Because email providers also tend to analyze the sending patterns. And if you're sending 1,000 times the exact same message, I think they will notice it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and your domains will be done.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's kind of enough from the email deliverability side of view. Do you have this kind of same issues with other channels, such as LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, on LinkedIn, you could get even banned, I would say. Your account could get easily banned if you don't use the correct APIs. So the setup for LinkedIn outreach, I would say, also has to be very secure. You don't want to use some sketchy providers. From my perspective, some of the best tools include HeyReach. They include, of course, the new, let's say, boy on the block, which is AimFox.
Yeah.
Those guys are also great. They have some features which other providers don't have.
Yep.
And also there is a tool which we are using as a SalesForge. Those guys are also implementing the multi-channel approach, where you could also send the LinkedIn messages combined with the email outreach.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, you have a really great options to choose from.
All right. in terms of inbound and outbound, we've already covered kind of the basic tech stack, right? So we've done the email deliverability, we've done the LinkedIn tech stack, and then in terms of the kind of inbound aspect, what would be your go-to tools?
Yeah, we were talking about our B2B, right? The only disadvantage of this tool is probably due to the GDPR in Europe. It's a bit difficult to capture leads from there.
Yeah.
But I would assume that you want to go international and you would try to optimize your SEO for the US market, right?
Yeah.
Hence, if you have some US traffic, definitely install the our B2B, add it to your technological stack. It could be a bit pricey, however, it's definitely worth it because as we discussed, the outreach sent to people who checked out your website is 5x more effective than just to the cold audience.
In Europe, I would say there are tools to use, but also they're just not as well equipped because you cannot really get personal level details.
Yeah.
But for example, Lead Feeder would be one tool to understand your website visitors in Europe. And that could be a solid use case for some companies at least.
Exactly.
All right, we've covered a range of topics, but let's go to a really interesting one, kind of the state of GTM in 2026. Like, are there some trends that you are seeing in the market?
Yeah.
What do you think 1 year from now when we're sitting again, maybe doing episode number 2, what does the world look like in terms of GTM? What has changed?
I think first of all, people start feeling this AI fatigue.
Okay.
Meaning that even in the messages, you don't have to be the expert to sort of spot AI usage. Meaning if you can make your copy and your LinkedIn messages look as human-like as possible. So going like against the trend, doing the reverse thing.
Yeah.
This would be a super interesting approach for a lot of companies which are getting pitched the whole time.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
I agree 100%. I think there's been this huge trend of hyper-personalization going around. I'm not sure if that's the best strategy. I think it has a place, so you can hyper-personalize using AI. But in most cases, or some cases, you can spot if it's really like 100% AI-made messages, right? I think relevancy is the key going forward, which means that the importance of, let's say, paying qualified signals could be even more important than now.
Yeah.
So that you're really getting in touch with people that would find you relevant.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing. But I completely sign on the idea of going against the grain with the usage of AI or just making new practices on how AI should be used in outbound. Right?
Yeah.
I think currently, like, for example, when we're doing some campaigns, we're writing it, the messages are written by hand, for example, on a piece of paper as a first iteration, and then that will become the backbone of the messaging. And
it's a good practice.
It's a pretty good practice. It's a fun practice. It's not just, outsourcing the thinking to Gemini 3.0 or Claude or ChatGPT. Instead, it's just crafting a message and then back engineering how is that message done using, for example, AI and different kind of play models.
Absolutely.
What else do you see happening in 2026?
I think a lot of companies will become so-called tool agnostic, meaning that a lot of new tools are coming up. They try to break in the market, but what they offer and their features are not too good for the companies to change, their technological stack. That's the first thing. And second thing, there is, again, so much noise that it's much better to have a couple of trusted providers for each GTM function and just ignore completely the rest. You've probably heard about Claude MCP coming up. You've heard about some NA10 MSP where you can also code your own workflows. Yeah. Again, this is all great. But I think if you really want to advance quick, you need to ignore a lot of noise and just focus on the core function of the GTM engineer.
Yeah, I agree. What about in 2026, how do you see the role of the GTM function working together with kind of different functions of the company? Because now we've seen that the role of GTM has been in often just filling up the initial pipeline.
Right.
And they just get the tools, they start blasting messages out there. Maybe they do some inbound, but they're really probably not too linked with the sales department or the marketing department.
Yeah.
Is this something you see changing, or has it already changed?
I would say yes. We would probably see more alignment between different departments of the company, because I think it should all work as the one sort of organism, one system. And I believe the go-to-market function should be the one uniting the rest of the departments.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so, yeah.
Why would you say so?
Because, for example, you generate a really good pipeline from a cold email.
Yeah.
If the SDRs, they don't answer to those emails within 5 to 10 minutes, which is now crucial to convert them, to have better sort of opportunity and chances to convert them, it's gone. And why was the GTM engineer just wasting his time? For what purpose, right?
Sure. So
that's how you need that's why you need the alignment.
Yeah. What I've seen from us working with our customers has been kind of first, kind of the sales is a very important piece of the puzzle because we're improving their pipeline. But more and more I see clients wanting us to work more with their marketing departments. The reason being is that we have the most up-to-date lists.
Yep.
And they can run some targeted ads to those lists. And also more often now, from the data that we have based on running kind of multiple different campaigns for our customers, they start seeing what resonates in the email messages, and they want to use that on the marketing, but also kind of the copy on their website.
Yeah, that's true.
So I see it similarly. I see GTM as a function will be more aligned with sales and marketing. For sure. And I also think the role of AI, in one way, it will kind of decrease, maybe, but in others, it will increase. For example, you were talking about kind of the answers to the positive responses that we get from campaigns.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that in some cases can be automated with AI.
Yeah.
So for example, if we are running a campaign and based on the data, we see that there are 2 to 4 most common objections, we can completely outsource that response work to AI.
Yeah.
But when we're selling more difficult technical solutions, I would definitely want our customers to respond those messages.
I agree.
Because it needs that deeper level of knowledge to turn those responses into actual meetings, right?
Definitely. So I would say more AI on the back end of the stuff and less AI when you're facing the customers, right?
That could be so, for sure.
Yeah, this would be banger for the next year.
Yeah. Great.
Right.